Liconia Christian Academy from United States of America, who visited Kigali Genocide Memorial Site, emphasized that they have learned a lot about the history of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, and they call up on the world that every community must make sure that what happened in Rwanda will never happen anywhere else in the world.
I have had some exposure to the history of Rwanda, but not as in-depth as this has been. And especially with regard to the genocide, I think that our whole group, we've done conversations and seen some documentaries on what happened here. And I know that we're all leaving with more information and more context for what happened, and a greater appreciation of the steps that lead to something that results in that level of suffering. And I think that one of the things that we're going to be talking about with our group is the amount of grace and the depth of heart that it takes for an entire community and an entire country to even consider a conversation about forgiveness and reconciliation. And for us, we know that we are called by God to forgive and to love, and seeing the steps taken and the steps that lead to suffering, but then the steps that lead from suffering to healing. I think that that's going to be one of the biggest conversations we have. The youth of today gives me a lot of hope. The youth of today has a very high skill for discernment, I think, and they're able to differentiate fact from fiction, and I think that they're tired of some of the old games that the world has been playing.
Before I came to Rwanda, me and some of my classmates, we watched a movie. I think it was called like Shake Hands with the Devil, and it was it taught us a lot about the genocide here in Rwanda. Very eye-opening, and we watched it as a class all together because we knew we were going to be traveling here, and my principal thought it was very important that we know history about Rwanda before we came here and interacted with everybody. I've learned a lot about the history of what happened before the genocide happened, a lot of the propaganda that was used to turn people against each other, and I just found everything really moving and super important to learn. I'm glad I got to come and open my eyes to what has happened. I really hope not. I can see it happening with just the climate of humanity, but me and I'm sure many others will work very hard to make sure that nothing like that ever happens again.
Well, the